You have a second brain. This is not a metaphor, and it is not a figure of speech. Right now, lower down in your body, wrapped around your gut, there is a network of around 500 million neurons. That is a real nervous system, larger than the entire brain of a mouse, and it can sense, decide, and act on its own without asking your head for permission. You have actually felt it your whole life. That churn in your stomach when you are nervous. The way your gut ties itself in knots before bad news. We even built the truth into our language without knowing why. A gut feeling, gut-wrenching. I can't stomach it. Trust your gut. Those are not poetry. They are, it turns out, surprisingly literal descriptions of a second thinking organ inside you. And tonight it gets stranger, because this second brain is not even alone down there. It shares its home with trillions of living things that are not you. So here's the question we are chasing. When you decide something, who is actually deciding? Let us start with the part that is not controversial, just wildly underappreciated. Lining your entire digestive tract is a mesh of nerve cells called the enteric nervous system, and it holds something like 500 million neurons. To feel that number, compare it. That is around 5 times as many neurons as there are in your spinal cord. Scientists call it the second brain, and it earns the name because of one remarkable fact. If you completely cut its connection to the brain in your head, it keeps working. Here is the everyday proof. When you are put under general anesthesia for surgery, your conscious brain is switched off entirely, but your gut carries on managing itself. It senses what is inside it, coordinates the muscles that squeeze food along, and releases chemicals, all with no input from above. Your heart does not have its own brain. Your liver does not. But your intestines do. Which raises the obvious question. Why would evolution bother building a whole second brain just to run your plumbing? The answer starts with how your two brains talk. They are wired together by a thick bundle of nerve fibers called the vagus nerve, running between your head and your gut like a private phone line. Now you would assume that line mostly carries orders downward, the head office telling the branch below what to do. It is the opposite. Around 80 to 90% of the fibers in the vagus nerve run the other way, upward, carrying information from the gut to the brain. Sit with that. Most of the traffic on the line between your two brains is your belly talking and your head listening. And here is where it becomes something you can actually use, because that same nerve is why slow, deep breathing calms you down. When you take long, slow breaths, you gently stimulate the vagus nerve, which flips your body toward its rest and calm state and quiets the brain. That trick every anxious person is told to do, just breathe slowly, is not vague wellness advice. It is you reaching your brain through your body using this exact wire. Now to the chemical that makes this personal. Serotonin, the molecule tied to mood and calm, the one most antidepressants are built around. When you picture serotonin, you picture your brain. But here is the fact almost nobody knows. Around 90 to 95% of the serotonin in your whole body is not made in your brain at all. It is made in your gut. And this is not just trivia, because it explains something millions of people have experienced firsthand. When someone starts taking an antidepressant, an SSRI, one of the most common side effects in the first couple of weeks is nausea and an upset stomach. Why the stomach for a drug meant to fix your mood? Because that drug works by boosting serotonin, and the largest reservoir of serotonin in your body is sitting right there in your gut. You feel the medicine in your belly before you feel it in your head. The chemistry of how you feel is being brewed, in enormous part, somewhere you never think to look. But the neurons are only half the story. because your gut is also home to an almost unimaginable crowd of guests. Living inside your intestines right now are somewhere on the order of 40 trillion bacteria. 40 trillion. That is roughly as many bacterial cells as you have human cells in your entire body, very roughly 1 to 1. And together they carry vastly more genes than you do. So by one honest way of counting, you are, at best, half human. This community is called the microbiome, and you have probably felt its absence without realizing it. Think about the last time you took a strong course of antibiotics. Those drugs do not just kill the infection, they carpet bomb your gut bacteria too. And a lot of people feel genuinely off afterward. Low, foggy, their digestion in disarray for weeks. That is the feeling of your inner ecosystem being cleared and slowly regrowing. For a long time, we assumed these microbes were passive little helpers, just breaking down our food. That picture is now falling apart because these bacteria turn out to be chemists, and they have learned to speak the private language of your nervous system. Here's the discovery that shook the field. Many of the bacteria in your gut can produce the very same chemicals your brain uses to think and feel. Some gut bacteria manufacture GABA, the main calming signal in your nervous system. That is not an obscure molecule. GABA is exactly what anti-anxiety drugs like Valium and Xanax act on to dial down your fear. And there are bacteria in your gut cranking it out. Others produce dopamine, tied to motivation and reward. Others make the raw materials your body needs to build serotonin. Now let me be careful and honest, because this is where hype outruns the evidence. Most of these bacterial chemicals do not simply float up and cross directly into your brain. The brain is well defended. Instead, they act more locally, tickling that vagus nerve, feeding the enteric system, shifting the signals that travel upward. But the headline still stands, and it is staggering. There are organisms inside you that are not you, not even human, synthesizing the molecules that shape your moods. And they have every reason to. Because your mood drives your behavior decides what you eat, and what you eat decides whether they feast or starve. Now, all of this could be a fascinating coincidence. Correlation, not cause. So scientists ran the experiment that turns a story into a claim. They took 2 strains of mice with clearly different temperaments, one naturally bold and adventurous, the other timid and anxious. Then they cleared out the animal's gut bacteria and transplanted the microbiome of one type into the other. And the personalities moved with the microbes. The timid mice, given the gut bacteria of the bold ones, became noticeably more adventurous. The bold mice, given the timid bacteria, grew more hesitant. Their temperament had been partly transplanted through the gut, and researchers pushed further in careful, still debated work. They took gut bacteria from human patients suffering with depression and put them into animals raised germ-free. The animals began to show depression-like behavior of their own, the loss of interest, the giving up sooner. The bacteria were not just linked to a state of mind. When scientists moved the microbes, the mind moved with them. So let us bring this all the way home into your own body, because you have lived this 1,000 times. The butterflies before you stand up to speak, that sinking, hollow drop in your stomach the instant you sense bad news, before your mind has even worked out why. The exam nerves that send you running to the bathroom, and it runs both ways. Anyone with a stressful job knows that a hard month shows up as stomach aches, and for people with conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, anxiety and gut pain feed each other in a brutal loop. This is the two-way street we have been describing, made personal. When you feel butterflies, that is your second brain reacting to threat and firing its alarm up the vagus nerve, and your head assembling it into the conscious feeling of dread. So some of what you call intuition, That gut sense that something is right or wrong is not coming from your head at all. It is arriving from below as a feeling before it ever becomes a thought. Here is where it gets genuinely uncomfortable. Think about a craving, that sudden specific pull towards sugar or bread or the exact thing you swore you would not eat tonight. You feel that craving as yours, a desire rising from inside you. But remember who else lives inside you. Your gut bacteria live or die by what you feed them, and different microbes crave different fuels. The bugs that thrive on sugar have a direct stake in you eating sugar, and through those same chemical signals and that same nerve, they can lean on your cravings, sour your mood when you resist, and reward you when you give in. There is even a name for the idea. Some scientists call it microbial manipulation of the host. Now, I want to stay honest. This is an active area of research, not settled law, and you are not a helpless puppet of your bowels. But think about the last time a craving passed simply because you waited 15 minutes. That may not have been pure willpower. That may have been you outlasting a bacterial lobbying campaign. At least some of what you want is trillions of tiny organisms voting, with your nervous system as the ballot box. Now, if this is starting to feel bleak, let me flip it over, because the real story is quietly empowering. You are not stuck with the microbiome you have. Unlike almost everything else in your biology, this part of you is changeable, and it changes fast. Studies show that when people dramatically shift their diet, the makeup of their gut bacteria can start to change within just a few days. Feed a rich variety of plants and fiber, and you cultivate a diverse, resilient garden of microbes, the kind linked with steadier mood and better health. And there is a beautifully practical finding here. In a Stanford study, people who ate more fermented foods, things like yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut, and kombucha, saw their microbial diversity go up and markers of inflammation go down. Live instead on sugar and heavily processed food, and you breed a narrower, more troublesome crowd. This is the hopeful heart of it. You are not simply at the mercy of your inner ecosystem. You are its gardener. Every single meal is a quiet vote, deciding which of these voices inside you grows louder and which fades. So step back and feel the real weight of this. You walk around with a deep, unquestioned sense that there is a single you, up in your head, calmly running the show, pulling the levers, making the calls. But we have just watched that story come apart, piece by piece. There is a second brain in your belly sending most of the messages. There are 40 trillion organisms that are not you, brewing your mood chemicals and leaning on your desires. Your gut feelings, your cravings, your baseline sense of calm or dread. All of it is being shaped from below, by machinery and by living things you never chose and cannot directly feel. This does not mean you have no self, and it is not an excuse. You are still responsible for what you do, but it does mean the self is not a lone commander in a control room. It is closer to a parliament, a noisy, crowded negotiation between your conscious mind, your second brain, and an entire ecosystem of tiny stakeholders. And somehow, out of all that voting, comes the smooth, convincing illusion of one person deciding. So the next time you feel a craving you cannot explain, or a gut feeling you cannot justify, or a wave of unease with no obvious cause, pause for just a second and consider that the message might be coming from further away than you think. Not from the you in your head, but from the vast living republic in your belly casting its votes. And notice that this cuts both ways. It is why a hard week wrecks your stomach, and it is also why slow breathing can calm you, why a course of antibiotics can flatten your mood, and why a month of real food can lift it. This is not something to fear. It is your own biology, the same partnership that has kept your ancestors alive for hundreds of millions of years. You are not a single voice, alone in the dark. You are an ecosystem that somehow learned to say the word I. And maybe wisdom is not pretending to be a dictator who was never really in charge. Maybe it is learning to listen well to the parliament you actually are, and to garden it with a little more care. So let me leave you with this. If the things you want are partly grown by what you feed, then what have you been feeding, and what would you like to want instead? Tell me in the comments. And if you love the real science explained without the boring parts, subscribe to First Principles Talk. We're just getting started.